Thanks for tuning in to A Better World, where we aim to illustrate that today is the greatest time to be alive and show the progress we're making as a civilization. I'm your host, Luis Acevedo, and today we're going to start doing something different moving forward. And instead of focusing the show primarily on what's going on in the world as far as the advancements we're making, I wanted to change it up a little bit and make it so that way we still cover the advancements, but also I can talk about the current events that are going on as well and give my 2 cents on a lot of these issues. And so today I wanted to start off with the trade war that's going on between the US and China. I'm sure a lot of you know what's going on there. And the reason it all started, in case you don't know, is because of the stealing of intellectual property from China. So every time a foreign company comes into China, they have to, they're almost forced to give them how information on how the technology works. They've been doing this to the U.S. for a long time, and it's estimated to have cost us anywhere from 150 to 260 billion dollars. So large sums of money has been lost to China due to this intellectual theft. Now, there's other things China has done as well, such as hacking into our power grid system, water treatments. Pretty much a lot of the infrastructure China has hacked into, or there's been evidence of China hacking into it or trying to hack into it from a few years ago, like 6-7 years ago. Now, we had this rumor come about that China actually was able to put a device, a little microchip, into Apple and Amazon servers, although they vehemently denied and even told Congress that this isn't true. But the Bloombergs did report on this, and they say that they got the information from high-up officials in both of those companies. But both companies, like I stated, deny it. So right now we have to go with the denial, I would say. But anyway, they've been hacking into our country for a long time. They've been stealing our intellectual property. And if you don't know what that is, that's anything like with an IP address. So things of like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, things of that nature would fall under that category of intellectual property. So that's why Trump, for the most part, initiated this trade war. And now what we're seeing in this trade war is something positive for us, I guess, not so hot for the Chinese. And so right now, the only pressures, the only effects we're truly feeling from the trade war, to my knowledge, has to do with the farmers and has to do with the increases on iron and steel. I know companies are being affected by that, and farmers most certainly are being affected as well, because the government even stated to them during this trade war, we'll be willing to subsidize, I believe the article I read was $12 billion to you guys. So that way, nothing too bad happens. You can stay in business, you can keep growing, and things of that nature until we get through this hump. So other than that, the economy in the United States is booming. The unemployment rate just dropped again to a new low in recent years, and the stock market's rising, and we're just doing very well. Our median income is steadily growing, slowly but surely, and things are doing well overall over here. We are not struggling. We are not feeling the effects of this trade war. However, China, on the other hand, is experiencing effects for this trade war. Their manufacturers are being are feeling the impact of the trade war directly due to tariffs and things of that nature that are occurring over there. And because of their economy is struggling, and even not really struggling, but it is not as good as it once was. And it was actually slowing down and starting to go on a downward, not so much a downward spiral, but go down. The economy was starting to do this before the trade war even occurred. But once the trade war occurred, things just started to progress a lot quicker. And because of that, this is the fourth time China had to actually cut back the reserve requirement in their central bank, so that way they can invest money into their economy and provide it to entrepreneurs and let money be easier lended out to people who are going to do things of that nature as far as entrepreneurial things. And the reason they had to do that is because of what's going on with the trade war and the fact that they're a communistic country, so the government runs everything. And so everything has to start from the top and work its way down. Businesses can't just maneuver on their own. They're totally under government control. And so they're reliant upon the government, like most other things in this communistic country. Pretty much everything is reliant on the government. And so they want to make sure that their economy doesn't struggle too bad, but people are already feeling the effects of this. And so, to circle this around, the reason I say that this is a good thing, sort of, is because we are pressuring China into what we hope will be submission, and they will concede to our terms, to whatever Trump has proposed to them, as far as, no more stealing of our intellectual property, maybe better trade deals, things of that nature, and work to make a more beneficial relationship for the both of us, as opposed to China taking advantage of us. That's what the trade war is all about. And right now it looks like we're winning, because their economy is actually hurting pretty badly right now. And for that reason alone, it makes me feel that Trump is actually on top of the ball when it comes to these type of things, simply because our economy's doing well and theirs isn't. That's just right there, I think, is evidence enough that even with a trade war going on, even with the hysteria that's taking place in the media, the division within our country, the economy is doing very, very well. Over in China, trade war occurs. Even before that, economy wasn't doing too well. Now it's doing worse than it was before. And another thing I would like to add is that this is a little different. So I digress a little bit here, but I'm going to tie it all back around. So China and the U.S. have been out at sea right now, close to each other, near a chain of islands that are not too far southward of the China mainland. And I guess they're unclaimed territory or something of that nature, these islands, and China's been trying to fortify them, and we don't want them to do that, and other countries don't want that either, because they feel that this will increase the potential for military invasion to other countries, things of that nature. And so we're out there as well. And over the weekend, I believe, if I remember correctly, they were two Navy ships, one U.S., one China, crossed paths with each other and had exchange of words because they got too close to one another. And so tensions are a little heightened at sea because of this. And another thing that's going on, and this is actually the first time this has occurred since World War II, so it's pretty huge. Japan just sent over armed vehicles to the Philippines to help contribute to training with the U.S. and the Philippines troops. And Japan also brought troops over there as well, not just the armored vehicles. Now, just a little background to tell you why this is a significant thing that Japan's doing is because Japan treats their military very well. Very, very well. They give them millions of dollars in life insurance, so if anything happens to them, their family will be taken care of because they provided their life to the country. And also, they get paid a decent salary, and when they go over to war zones, they're typically non-combative, from my knowledge, and they try, if at all possible, to keep their soldiers at home. I think there's something in their constitution, if I'm not mistaken, or something written where it states that their soldiers actually have to remain to be at home. And so this is kind of big because this is the anomaly for Japan. They're not all over the world like we are, or things like that. So they're over in the Philippines now. There's no weapons over there for them. They're not using any kind of weapons. They're just doing training and things of that nature. And the U.S. says that this is just preparation, just training as usual, and it could be important because of heightened tensions between U.S. and China. Now, the reason I bring this up to tie back around with the whole trade war thing and the economy Now, obviously, the good thing that can occur out of this trade war is China concedes to our terms and conditions and how we're going to do trade moving forward, and the intellectual property thing will get sorted out and make sure they're no longer stealing our property and potentially other countries' properties as well. That's the good side of it. That will be the beneficial part that takes place if all things go well. However, if things go south, this is my hypothesis, my opinion, could be totally wrong, but if things go south, it could go for the worse and not just say, screw you economically, we're going to keep raising tariffs and we don't need you, cut off ties, whatever. From China, it could get to the point where their back's against the wall and they decide they have nothing more to lose. And what if they start a war because of this trade war? What if it escalates into something like that? Now, obviously, we're a little ways from that, but we have signs, we have moving pieces, across the board right now that are at least illustrating that there's the potential for war and that we're preparing for it. And China's not backing down over at sea, and they feel pressure economically from this trade war. So things are looking good, but at the same time, a little scary. And two things can be true at once. The reason they're good is because if things go properly and things are going accordingly and China doesn't have some malevolent plan up their sleeves, if things go for the worst, then we're all going to be better off with trade and things of that nature. But if things go south, which they could, it's not, I don't know if it's a very likely possibility, but it's a possibility, right? And who knows, maybe a war could come out of this, which wouldn't be good if it were two economic powerhouses, the two strongest superpowers in the world went head to head. It wouldn't be a good thing. Not at all. So, other than that hypothetical point that I made, things appear to be going in favor of us winning this trade war and doing what Trump initially set out to do. Now, I do have to add, I don't know if it was Trump who came up with this plan. Maybe he didn't. Maybe his advisors came up with the plan and Trump was like, okay, we'll do it. I don't know. But I'm giving him credit for it because it's his administration. And it appears that things are working pretty well in our favor. So, this is just the start of what I want to do moving forward as far as covering some story and giving my 2 cents on it, what I think's going on, and the potential good and bad that can come from it. So I hope you guys like what I'm doing, and if you do, let me know. If you don't, let me know, so that way I can see what I need to work on. And if you have any suggestions on a topic you would like me to cover, now it's more broadly. It doesn't have to be something in which the world is advancing or there's progress taking place. It could be something that sparks your interest politically, current events, doesn't matter. Share it to me. Let me know what you want me to do. If you have any suggestions, like I stated, and I will be more than happy to look that over and do them. So I hope you all have a great day, and hope you all enjoy the new way we're doing the show. Thanks for tuning in to A Better World. Peace.